Hey everybody, ChristopherOdd here. Welcome to the second episode of Odds and Ends. It's been a long time since I recorded and uploaded the first episode of Odds and Ends, and I plan to do this on a regular basis. Note to self, never make any new plans during the holidays, because they will fail miserably every time. I'm going to talk about a lot of things today. I'll give you a very quick rundown of the things I'm going to cover off. I'm going to talk about The Witcher 3 being delayed. I'm going to talk about The Witcher books. I'm going to talk about XCOM. I'm going to talk about Dragon Age Inquisition, Wasteland 2, some upcoming games I'm interested in playing, some personal stuff. People have been wondering a little bit more about me and who I am and what I do and what my life is like, and I can tell you a couple of things. I'm also going to do Q&A, answering some of the questions that were on the previous video. Feel free to leave some more questions on this one that you'd like me to answer in future videos, and I will do that. Also, I have a whole bunch of questions from Twitter, and I'm going to just try to share a little bit of my life with you. So, first things first, Witcher 3 was delayed till May 19th. If you haven't heard that, you're hearing it now. You probably were living in a box somewhere, or maybe you don't like The Witcher, in which case maybe you're not feeling well or something. But The Witcher 3 is delayed for the second time, and it's being delayed until May 19th. Now, my thoughts on this originally was like, frick. Like, I was and still am incredibly excited for The Witcher 3. But here's the thing. In their open letter, it's basically saying we need to spend more time squashing bugs. Like, that's really what it's coming down to, I think. These guys, this is you gotta understand, CD Projekt Red, it started with The Witcher a few years back. They released The Witcher 2, had a lot of success with it. But I think The Witcher 3 is undoubtedly their largest game ever. And if they don't release it now, especially with the delays, if they don't release it being like damn near perfect, they're gonna come under a lot of criticism. And it's probably, well-deserved criticism. I love CD Projekt Red, and I love everything that they're doing for gaming, and I love their stance on games. Like, it's just, sounds like and is a fantastic company. But this certainly does add another level of pressure to them. I think every time you delay something like this, the expectations go up dramatically. And I'm not even saying that's the right way that it should be, but I think that's just how people are. But for me, I would rather wait an extra, what is it, February, so March, April, May. I'd way rather wait an extra 3 months, have a game that has like no bugs, have a game that runs great, have a game like, this is a game all about kind of exploring this huge open world. There's going to be millions of things going on, so many different side quests. They're making some very lofty promises about having every side quest actually matter, and then on your way to doing things, you might run into other things that actually matter. And if you're going to claim that, you pretty much have to deliver, or people are going to be a little bit disappointed. So there is quite a bit of pressure on them, I think, and rightfully so, I guess. But for me, take all the time you need. Hell, if it comes up to May and you're like, we're not ready, we're supposed to launch in 2 weeks, but we're not ready, we need another few months, like, do it. But I think the one thing that they're going to learn from this, and I think more companies should do this, is don't set a release date so early. Don't set a release date until you know for certain that you can release on that date. 2014 has been a year of a lot of buggy games. I would argue almost incomplete games. And I think a lot of that is just due to the internal pressures that the companies put on themselves. Like, they have this release date, especially the large companies like EA's and the Ubisofts. They put these pressures in place, and it's not for the gamer, and it's not even for kind of like the lead developers, I say, but it's more about the company as a whole, and saying, okay, this is a huge franchise, we need to release on this date and that date, and you got to make it happen. And so people are going to be working crazy hours, there's going to be a lot of pressure, and it's like, it's the corporate side of things that really kind of drive that issue, I think. But yeah, so The Witcher 3 is delayed. I feel sad, but I understand. So take all the time you guys need, make it awesome, and I will be here waiting to jump on that. In the meantime, to fill my kind of Witcher void, a lot of people have been asking me, well, when are you going to play The Witcher 2? I was originally going to start doing that in December, actually. And obviously, since it got pushed back, I'm going to be pushing back my second Let's Play of The Witcher 2 until probably March, I would say. I would say late February, early March. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll start it on the previous release date of The Witcher 3. That would be kind of cool. That would line up pretty well. But my ideal goal for that would be to end it like literally the night before The Witcher 3 is supposed to release. That would be the coolest way to do it. And I'll be going with the other option. I won't spoil anything in case people haven't played The Witcher 2, but I'll be going with the other option that I did not choose in The Witcher 1, which will have a massive not on The Witcher 1. On my first playthrough of The Witcher 2, which will have a massive impact on the second half of the story. And I'm actually pretty excited. I'm not sure which option I'm going to end up choosing to import into my Witcher 3 beginning, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Almost more than having when I found out The Witcher 3 was delayed. I was almost more disappointed that I couldn't play The Witcher 2 again right away. A lot of people would say, well, just do it anyways. But for me, like, it's going to be that whole piece of anticipation and just getting ready for The Witcher 3 and then being able to wrap it up right before The Witcher 3 comes out. Everything will be super fresh, and then I can dedicate so much time to The Witcher 3. And to be honest, when The Witcher 3 comes out, ideally, that might be like the only game that I have going on my channel where I can release multiple videos per day and just like churn things out. So I'm pretty excited about it. I am going to be reading some of the Witcher books, so I'm almost finished The Last Wish, and then I have all the other books that I need to read. I believe there's a fan translation that I need to read before I get into the other ones. I can't remember the order off the top of my head, but I will be reading all of those as well, because there are quite a few things in The Witcher 3 that are like basically right out of the books, and even if you played The Witcher 1 and 2, I think there's some things that would be glossed over. I'm sure they get introduced pretty well in The Witcher 3 because they're obviously aware of that fact, but I would like to have the book knowledge going in and to see all of the references that they draw. So yeah, that's The Witcher stuff. Moving on to a little bit of a change in scheduling for the channel regarding XCOM. So I'm going to actually put XCOM on hold for a little while. I know that's going to upset a few people, but I just want you to hear me out. I think I have over, 300 XCOM videos or something. Like, I don't think it's quite 300, but it's a lot. And like, if I just do a search for XCOM in my own videos, I have like pages and pages and pages and pages. I don't know. I want to say over 300, but I don't know if 300 is the right answer, but it is a lot. And I've loved every minute of it. I really have, but I find right now, just with the way that my time is being scheduled, and I'll get into this a little bit more when I talk about my personal life, I just feel like I've got too many things going on right now. XCOM is a very big commitment every time you start a new campaign. Wasteland 2 is still going on, and I love Wasteland 2, and I'm loving the story, and so I want to continue that. And then, obviously, Dragon Age is very long as well. So I feel like they're all really large commitments. And XCOM, because I've done it so much, I'm just going to put it on hold for a while, and I'll come back to it probably around the time when they release the new updates for Long War. And that'll be another pretty significant change. So if I can do it that way, and there's depending on what other games are coming out and what other things I'm doing on the channel, I'll get back to it. But XCOM's not going away forever. It's just temporarily, and just for now. So hope you guys understand that. But yeah, I think it's just the right thing to do for the time being. Currently, there's Dragon Age Inquisition going up every day, Wasteland 2 going up every second or every other day. And that seems to be working okay for me right now. Just in terms of managing like my personal life and managing the channel at the same time. Dragon Age Inquisition, there's parts of it that I love and there's parts of it that I don't love. But one of the things that I feel like will always remain with me was a recent scene between Dorian and his father. And I just thought that it was so incredibly well done. Like the acting, the voice acting, the way that they like quote unquote filmed the scene. It was just very cinematic, very strong emotional ties that you could see form between these characters. And that scene will probably stick out to me as one of the strongest scenes in any video game that I can recall. Very, very cool stuff. And that whole like Dorian storyline is actually very interesting. I do really love the main story of Inquisition. I think it's fantastic so far. Some of the getting caught up in a lot of the side quests is kind of, I guess it's not super fulfilling. And I'm trying to do the ones that seem most interesting. But usually within each side quest, I can kind of find something that I think is cool and stay focused on that. So that's kind of where Inquisition at. I know that a lot of people want to see me go and do like every tiny little side quest. And that's kind of a lot of pressure for me because I don't think it's necessary. And I don't think that I don't know if you should play a game as a completionist just to do it. But I also feel like some of that onus is on the developer, and they should be making side quests that are engaging and that actually have a purpose, kind of going back to what the Witcher 3 devs have planned to do. And if they can pull that off, it'll be great. But in Inquisition, there's a lot of quests that are just kind of meh, you know? And I don't think that's being subjective either. I think that if you really look at the quests, there are some that are just go here, grab this, come back. It's like nothing that really is that appealing. That being said, I'm not going to be rushing through, and I'm not going to be only doing main missions. I'm going to continue to do a lot of the side missions. I'm going to be doing codex entry videos very soon. And I think overall it's going to be a great experience. It's still going to go on for quite a while because I think it's going to be a very long game. Might end up being my longest series of all time. But that is to be expected, I think, with Dragon Age. Wasteland 2 is freaking awesome, by the way. If you're not watching Wasteland 2, like, I kind of understand why people don't watch that one as much. It's one of my lowest performing series, like, of all time. But I love the game. I love it. And I feel like there's people that are watching it, and so I'm going to continue to do the videos. But if you're not into it, it's really tough to try to sell you on it. But this thing that I'm playing, or the area that I'm in right now, is super cool. It's probably one of the coolest things I've seen in video game stories, where there's these kind of three I don't want to say branching storylines right now, but there's three kind of problems we need to solve in this one area, and I think I've got all of the things I need to be able to do that. But there's also this overall larger problem that's in the area that I have to try and help with. And in order to do that, I have to head to a different area to figure something out and then come back. And I'm not sure what the best way to approach it is, but it's making me really think. And I'm being vague because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But the current area that we're in Wasteland 2 is by far my favorite that we've been in, and I love that. I think it's super cool. I think a lot of times games will front load their excitement and their interesting storylines, but the Wasteland 2 hasn't let up yet, and I'm really, really enjoying it. In terms of upcoming games, so being that I'm only doing Wasteland 2 every other day, and I'm doing Dragon Age every day, that opens up some slots for me to do some smaller games that aren't as big of a commitment. And really, that's what I'm going to be focusing on for the next little while, whether it be older stuff that I haven't gotten to touch base on yet, or whether it be new, smaller releases from doing some indie games, whatever the case may be. That's where I'm going to be putting a lot of my focus for the next little while. So some of the games that I really want to do is the Telltale games. I talked about that last time, doing a Game of Thrones playthrough, doing the Tales from the Borderlands playthrough. Even though the Borderlands story I'm not super familiar with, I think it would still be fun. And apparently a lot of people on the last Odds and Ends video said that they'd be interested in seeing that. So that was some good affirmation that heading in the right direction there. I also want to do... did I say this? I want to do To the Moon. That's a game I'd really like to play. It's you can't play it in like 720p or 1080. You can't, like, it's a 640 by 480 window, right? And so it's not going to be the highest visual quality game I've ever played, but I hear the story is really engaging, and I'm pretty excited to check that out. There's also in January a couple of releases that I might look at. I don't know yet, and I don't want to commit. But Resident Evil HD Remake is being released for the PC on January 20th. And that's a re-release of the original Resident Evil. And it looks beautiful. It looks awesome. It looks like it still controls very similarly to when the game was released. And I had played that game when I was younger. I don't think I ever finished it, but like I just remember that like when you first walk into the mansion and you have like the stairs, I think, on either side, and you have all the balconies, and such a cool, like, that was probably my first scary game that I played. I don't think I ever finished it. I was really young when it came out, and I might check that out. I think it could be pretty cool. Also, Dying Light, which, to be honest, I don't know a whole lot about. I know there's like an early press review copy that a lot of people are playing on YouTube right now. I haven't had a chance to check out any videos because I've been swamped with my own stuff. But the premise sounds interesting. Like, during the day, you're kind of you're just running around on rooftops and you're trying to find supplies and stuff to make things so that you can basically survive the night when all the zombies go crazy. And that seems interesting. It's just that I don't know if there's much plot. I don't know if there's much of a story behind it. What I'd really like to do is just play The Last of Us over and over again. I've been trying to find a way to like find the time for me to just play The Last of Us again, because I really want that engaging, masterful story. But I probably won't be doing that anytime soon. So maybe Resident Evil, maybe Dying Light. I'm not sure. The other things, let's talk about, I don't sound big-headed much, but let's talk about myself a little bit and what's going on in my life for the past little while. So, near the end of December, this is around December 20th, I think, around there, I got super sick. Super sick. Like, this is the sickest I've ever been in my life. I think it was like a really bad flu. Took me totally out of commission for like 4 or 5 days, like just bad. And then I had this lingering cough for almost 2 weeks. Like, it was really, really annoying. And it's probably, I tried to cut as many of them as I could find in my videos before I rendered and uploaded them. But I know a whole bunch got through and people were probably hearing me cough. And I hate that. I hate when I watch videos where people cough. And I hate being the one to do it. But it was either that or not record at all. And, you know, I like recording, and it gives me something to do, and I feel like I owe it to people to put up some videos just because I get a lot of support from you guys. So I hope you guys were okay with that. But I'm pretty much 100% now. I still have a kind of a lingering, like, once or twice a day I'll have like a major kind of phlegmy, gross cough. I know you probably love hearing about this, but I think I'm pretty much on the mend now, so that's pretty good stuff. I've been on vacation since December 20th. Well, not vacation. I had to take a couple of sick days because I was sick. And then where I work, we basically shut down over the holidays. So that was pretty cool. And then I took a week of vacation from when we were supposed to return to work until basically now. So that was cool because I had a buddy come down and visit me from back home. I'm originally from Saskatchewan, and I'm now in Montreal, Quebec. So I had a buddy visiting. His name was Ajay, and we did a couple of things. We tried to watch, actually, the Lord of the Rings trilogy. He had never seen it, and we tried watching it, and about an hour in, he was like, dude, I'm just not into it. I said, just, can you give it until we have the big meeting at the Elven City? He's like, okay. So we got there, and after the meeting, he was like, yeah, no, not doing it. So we were live tweeting it, actually, and yeah, that was kind of fun. People were answering a lot of my questions that I had about it, but he was just not into it, so we stopped watching. We had a lot of interesting discussions while he was here. One of my favorite things that we did while he was visiting is just we kind of had like some debate between him and myself and my wife. And when you have like a debate with 3 people, there's always somebody left out, right? Because very rarely is it like option A, B, or C. It's usually option A or option B, and like, what do you support? And we had watched a documentary called Paradise Lost, and if you haven't watched it, you really should. It's amazingly well done. And it's about these 3 kids that are convicted of a crime which to this day hasn't really been proven that they committed. And they are now out of jail. And they had to get out of jail by actually saying, yes, we're guilty, but we're not. It's a very bizarre case. But they were charged with the murder of 3 younger boys, and it was a very brutal, brutal murder. and then one of them got sentenced to the death penalty, and the other two got basically life. And so we started debating the death penalty, and I don't want to get into that here. Feel free to leave your opinion in the comments if you want. But my thing was that if you have irrefutable proof, like visual evidence of somebody murdering somebody, I could see how people would say, yes, the death penalty is okay. But then it's kind of like, how are we any better than the person doing the murders if you're just going to kill them? Like, it's a very hard thing to be black or white on. But, you know, it was interesting because my buddy is not into it. He's like, nope, totally against it. What if we get it wrong? And like, he's right. You know, if you convict somebody and it's wrong, and they have a wrongful conviction and they're wrongfully imprisoned and then wrongfully set to death, like, that's terrible. There's no coming back from that. But then there's a lot of people that say like, oh, the death penalty is like, that's justice served and all this. And so we discussed this for like 2 hours, and it was really entertaining. But all that said, it was a very heated discussion. And I would advise that you only have that type of discussion with people that you trust, people that you know, because your opinions will run wild for sure. But that was really fun. That was one of the debates that we had. We had talked about a lot of other stuff, but it all started with Paradise Lost, and we were watching a whole bunch of these like documentaries about murders and people that were wrongfully convicted, and yeah, it just led to a rather interesting discussion. What else? While he was here, we did a lot of like movie watching. It's weird. Like he'll travel 3,000 kilometers here, and then we'll just sit down and watch movies. We'll watch TV series. Like, we just chill, and I love that. We went out and partied like one night out of the 2 weeks he was here, and we had a great time. But we did a lot of like going for dinners, and we took him some shopping places. We have some new outlet malls in Montreal here that everyone's going crazy about, so we went there, and it was okay. But yeah, I miss him. He went back home today, and yeah, I really enjoyed that over the past 2 weeks, just having a good buddy here. When I moved here 4 years ago, I left a lot of my good friends back home, obviously, and when you move somewhere as an adult, it's really interesting because making friends is quite a bit different than it is when you're in like school. When you're in school, you're forced to make friends, basically. You're stuck in classes with people and you're always around the same group. But when you're an adult, it's not like that. And usually people are a little bit more established in their lives, and people aren't looking for like new friends all the time because they're like, I got enough. I don't need this other guy. Like, it's just how it is. So for me, over the past 4 years here, I don't have a lot of close friends in Montreal. And so when he comes and visits, usually twice a year, it's pretty fantastic. It's pretty great. I would say some of my closest friends are people that I talk to online. Those are the people I probably talk to the most. Besides like my work buddies and my wife, obviously. So it was great to have somebody down from back home and just being able to chill, and we slip right back into that old friendship. It's really awesome. But he went home now, so he'll probably be back in the middle of summer. We had plans to actually record the Game of Thrones stuff on what day is it today? It's Sunday, so it would have been Saturday we were going to record, but because we went out Friday night and we don't go out very often, we were both like extremely unsettled for all of Saturday, and so we didn't end up recording it. But that was going to be the plan. We just never got around to it. Since it's the new year, I don't really do New Year's resolutions. I don't do that. That's not my thing. I just feel like if you want to make a resolution, you just do it when it feels right. And one of the things that I wanted to do for the past probably year now, like really thinking about it almost every day, is getting back into a better physical shape and better physical health. I'm not saying that I'm in terrible shape, but from where I was 4 years ago, 4 years, I moved out to Montreal and I was in the best shape of my life. And since I've been here, I got married, I got really settled into my job, got into YouTube, obviously. And I've always lived a pretty sedentary lifestyle, but I miss going to the gym. And I used to go to the gym a lot. It's not even like to go to the gym and just like build muscle and like run on treadmills and look at yourself in the mirror. That's not why I would go. I would go to the gym to like feel better. I think it's a proven scientific fact. If you do exercise, you feel better. Whether or not you look better or are actually healthier, whatever, you feel better. And that's a feeling that I miss. So over the past few days, I've been looking into some gyms and trying to figure out where I want to go and what's really important to me. And I've decided that the most important thing to me, there's two things. Here, I'll give you my list of all the things that I was looking for in a gym. One is how close it is to my house. Okay, because if I have to drive 20 minutes to a gym, like I'm not going to go. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's just true, right? The other thing, price. I looked at price, but I mean, all gym memberships are relatively similar in cost, so it wasn't a huge thing. I was also looking for a 24-hour gym because I think with my current lifestyle, having a job, having a wife, dog, YouTube, obviously, and then my other hobbies like reading, music, all that kind of stuff, I feel like being able to go to a gym at any time of day would be really important to me. And I'm saying like I would probably end up going at night, probably 10:30, 11 sometimes. And I think in a way I'm kind of excited for that because I could go to the gym, work out, whatever, it'd probably be dead. And then I come home and I go to sleep and I'd probably have a fantastic sleep every time that I did that. So, yeah, I think I'm going to join a gym and it's probably going to be a 24-hour one. And it's probably going to be pretty close to my house. And the price isn't that crazy. It's not cheap. It's about, I think it's like the promotion they have right now is $18.99 every 2 weeks, which works out to like, I think it's $1.35 or something per day that they advertise. So like on the year, yeah, that's a lot of money. But if you think about the amount of money that you waste on like just junk food in a week or coffees or whatever it is, like you can find that money. And if it's for your health, I think that it's probably worth it, no matter what it is. So I'm going to really try to get into better shape this year. And not because it's a new year. It's just like I just had a birthday on December 30th. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to like do a couple things over and just try to freshen up my life a little bit. I love my life and I'm having a great time. But I think that the one thing I'm really missing is the gym. So I'm going to get back into it. The other thing I've been doing is, it's just, I know I'm just bouncing around here topic to topic, but it's kind of interesting. My wife and my buddy Ajay, they were both listening to this podcast called Serial, which I bet a lot of you have heard of. It's basically about this this murder case where some people feel like somebody was, again, wrongly convicted. And they do this podcast where they're kind of giving you insight into this case. And it's really interesting. So today, on the way to drive my buddy to the airport and run some errands that we had to do, I listened to about four episodes of this podcast, and I'm like pretty into it. So I'm going to be trying to finish this podcast during my commutes or during my gym visits for the next little while. And yeah, if you haven't heard of it, it's called Serial. And if you just search like, not cereal like the food, but serial like serial killers, even though it's not about serial killers, I'm sure you'll find it. So yeah, pretty cool. The other thing I try to squeeze in when I can is there's a big Dota tournament right now called the Dota Asia Championships, I believe. And I'm really enjoying that. They got a lot of the big teams in there, and there's been some amazing games so far. The prize pool is massive. And I like watching Dota as much as I can, but it's a big time sink. Like if I sit down to watch a game of Dota, that's an hour, right? So if I'm watching a best of 3, that's 3 hours, which I could be using to do other things. Like example, go to the gym, record videos, read. Like there's a million things you could do, but that's kind of my source of entertainment, right? I also, over the course of when I got sick, I got into a TV show called Lost, which I'm sure you've all heard of. And when I was like basically in bed for 4 or 5 days, I would just watch Lost. And that was a big time sink. Like I'm talking 10 hours a day. I'm in season 4 now, having started it at the very end of December. And it's pretty wild. So I'm looking forward to see how they wrap that up. But yeah, so that's my media consumption lately. Anyways, I think that's pretty much enough about me that I have proactively brought up. I have a whole bunch of questions here from people that left comments or questions on the previous video and some Twitter stuff, but I'm going to start with the comments from the previous video. And this is from the Groucho661, and he said, "It would be great if, at the end of every Odds and End episode, you responded to questions and queries people asked in the comments section of previous Odds and Ends episodes, and mentioned their usernames. Always a nice touch." So he's got a few questions here that he's listed, and I'll try to get through all of them, but some of them require a lot of, well, I don't know if it requires a lot of thought, but I'll try and get through them here. So he says, "Who are you subscribed to on YouTube?" So as I'm reading this off, I'm just going to go to my subscriptions, and I'll tell you who I'm subscribed to. I am subscribed to... I'm just going to read off some of the names on my subscription page. So, Linus Tech Tips, because I'm a nerd into gadgets. DJ Bolivia, because I went through a phase where I wanted to learn how to be a DJ, and this guy was just interesting to watch and listen to. He's very well spoken and very thorough, and he does things that I think are really interesting. So, I've stayed subscribed to him, and I watch the odd tutorial video that he does, and I go from there. Beagle Rush, because XCOM, and I've been a huge fan of Beagle Rush. We've talked quite a bit, him and I, about doing some XCOM videos together at some point. We're trying to figure out a way to do that. Between him, myself, another guy named Marbazier, who I'm also subscribed to, and the Zimolf is another XCOM guy. We've all been in touch quite a bit, trying to figure out how we could do a cool XCOM series. One of the ideas that we had was to pass a save file around. So as an example, I would start and I would play the first mission. Then I would send my save file to one of the other guys. They would do it. And then that gets sent to somebody else. That gets sent to somebody else. And then we have this rotating XCOM campaign that we're all contributing to, and you have to go based on the decisions of the last 3 people that played. I think it would be very cool to try. It's a lot of work, but I should re-engage with those guys and see if that's something they'd be open to, because then I'd be able to keep the XCOM going on the channel. Another channel that I'm subscribed to is SBF Mad Jin. And if you're into Civilization, you probably know who he is. He was one of the first channels I ever found on YouTube, actually. And I found him when I was looking for Civ 5 tutorials. Civ 5 is a game where I love it, but I think I like to watch it more than I like to play it, because I don't have the time to invest to learn the actual strategy part. I like watching other people that know what they're doing. It's weird. I don't know why I'm like that, but yeah, so that's why I subscribe to him. A recent subscription is this guy called Obese to Beast. Can't remember where I found out about him. He was a guy who, you know what? I think I found him on Reddit. I think a video of his where he's talking about having a lot of loose skin because he had lost a shitload of weight, hundreds of pounds. And then he ended up going on to Ellen and all this crazy stuff. And I liked his energy. I think he was a good guy. And he's a super young dude. I don't even know if he's 20. I think he's under 20. And anyways, Obese to Beast. So you can check that out if you're into fitness, motivation, stuff like that. Paul's Hardware, who was a guy that used to be with Newegg TV, I believe. And now he's doing his own channel called Paul's Hardware. So especially when I was building my recent computers and stuff, I was following a lot of these tech guys, and I still have them subscribed. JP, he does a lot of roleplay stuff, live role-playing with different types of scenarios, and it's pretty interesting. I've never watched a full campaign from start to finish. I just kind of pop in to see what's going on from time to time. I'm a terrible subscriber. I don't have time to watch anybody's videos. I just don't have the time. So it's very rare that I'll sit and watch somebody else play video games, because to me, I could be doing other things. Who else? Beyond the Summit, because I have a lot of Dota stuff. I recently, when we started doing the Borderlands co-op stuff that never went anywhere, I subscribed to Blitzkriegsler, Splattercat Gaming, and Ryan the Solar Gamer, I believe. They all do pretty cool channels, and everybody does really different games, so it was kind of interesting that we all connected. But that was cool. It was just that Let's Play just didn't work out. The game wasn't that great, and it was just kind of fell flat. Who else here can I see? Total Biscuit, obviously. I mean, whether or not you like his opinions, he covers a lot of stuff. So if you're looking for a quick view on something, you can usually get it on his channel. Northern Lion, I'm subscribed to him. He's a great guy. We've talked a little bit on Twitter, and I don't know. I'd like to do some videos with him at some point. I think that would be pretty fun. I think that we would complement each other rather well. I just find that doing co-op stuff is really difficult right now, and I wonder though. I'm interested in your guys' opinion, so I'm just thinking back to that XCOM thing. Like, how viable would that be for other games where you could send a save file back and forth? And would that be something that would be interesting? Would it work well? I don't know. I have no idea. But I wonder what games would work well with that, because that's something that, especially from a content creator standpoint, is rather interesting, because you are creating content in a way that if people are interested in it, they have to go to both channels to continue watching, right? Whereas a lot of people that do co-op videos, they will put up the video at the same time on both channels, and then usually you're just going to go to the channel that you found it on, right? And one of the big reasons that you would do a co-op series is to cross-pollinate your audiences, right? Because if somebody is watching me and they haven't heard of the person I'm playing with, they can go check it out, and vice versa. So I'm wondering how that would work. I'll have to put some extra thought into that. I'm subscribed to Dota Cinemas. I'm subscribed to Linus Plays, who was the guy who like helped me get started on YouTube. And he used to be Linus117, moved his channel over to Linus Plays, and he's been growing pretty steadily. I'm pretty happy for him. He's got 12,000 subscribers now after starting his channel from scratch. So good for him. Super happy. Quill18, because Canadian, and again, found him during Civ 5 stuff. And that's pretty much, that's it. Oh, another one I do want to actually highlight is a guy named Baumi, Baumi. He does Dota videos, and he's a pretty interesting guy. And what I think is interesting is he's able to play the game and talk about random shit at the same time. Which is really hard for me to do, and I think anybody to do, and do it well. But he seems to do it pretty well. Anyways, that was a long-ass answer to a very short question. So I'm done with that. What films have I watched recently? Well, I can tell you, because we watched a ton. In theaters, we watched... so in the past 2 weeks, we probably watched 7 or 8 movies in theaters. My buddy and I, since he was visiting. And the best one that I saw in recent history is Whiplash. Whiplash was amazing. If you haven't seen it, it's about this jazz drummer and this really, I'll say, aggressive teacher who like pushed him, and it was really it was great. It was really fantastic. Another one was The Imitation Game with Benedict Cumberbatch, I think his name is. I might be saying his first name wrong. But it's basically about Alan Turing and how he invented like a computer in World War II that was able to decode Nazi messages using this like specific algorithm that he had to teach it. And it was amazing. Really well done. Those are the 2 like theater movies that I would recommend that you guys see. American Sniper we watched. It doesn't come out until the 16th, I believe. But we managed to get a copy of it early, which is interesting. But anyways, the movie was pretty cool. It was very interesting to see the take on him. We watched The Babadook, which is this weird horror movie, but it's actually like, yeah, it affected me a little bit. Before I Go to Sleep, we watched, which is a woman who wakes up every day remembering nothing as a result of this traumatic accident in her past. She has to like relive this day, kind of like a pseudo Memento, but different. What else did we watch? We watched this movie called Force Majeure, which sucked ass. Don't ever watch it. We watched a movie called Eye Origins, which follows a molecular biologist studying the evolution of a human eye, and that was pretty wild. We watched The Interview, James Franco and Seth Rogen. It was funny. It was like stupid funny, but it was fine. What else? All those Paradise Lost documentaries I told you about. We watched Sleepers, which is an old movie about gangsters seeking revenge on this like jail worker that they were involved with. We watched Speed. My buddy was like, yeah, I really loved Speed when I was a kid. We should watch it. It's not that good anymore. If you watch Speed when you were a lot younger and you watch it now, nope, I wouldn't recommend watching that again. What else? Yeah, there's a lot more in there that we watched, I'm sure, but that's really all I can think of at the time. The Groucho661 still is saying, what are the top five favorite games you've done LPs on? It's a tough one. The Witcher 2 is probably number one. XCOM is up there because, I mean, I love XCOM. And, man, it's tough. Some of the Telltale game stuff was really good. I would say the Fables was pretty good. It's not even called Fables. It's called A Wolf Among Us. I thought that was pretty fantastic. Those would be my top three. What games do people ask you to play the most that you've already played before? That's an interesting one. I would say probably, like, if I just look at my playlists, I have a ton of games in here that people ask me about all the time. Like, The Fall. People ask me to play The Fall a lot. Like, I've done that, and it's recorded. Watch Dogs, done that, recorded. Dark Souls. Surprisingly, people ask me about that quite a bit, and done that, it's recorded. Beyond Two Souls, done that, recorded. Speaking of Beyond Two Souls, another one I want to play at some point is Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain, but I think that's a longer game, bigger commitment, so I'm not sure when I'll get to that. But that's, hope that answers that question. And secondly, he goes, at some point, please do an LP of Monkey Island and Fallout 3. Fallout 3 seems really interesting to me, actually. That's something that I probably would explore when there's not a whole lot going on. Monkey's Island, I have no idea what it is, so I'm going to have to look into it. Rat6111 says, you sure release a lot of videos for someone on the 9 to 5 grind. Somebody on the 9 to 5 grind. Do your coworkers know you are a gaming overlord? The reason I chose to answer this question is because it's funny. When I first started on YouTube, I didn't really tell anybody. It was just kind of my own thing that I did. Not because I would didn't want to talk about it, just because my buddies that I was close with aren't really gamers. So it was just kind of like I had no reason to tell them. But more and more people at work like, oh, I hear you have a channel, because I told a couple of people. I'm like, yeah, what is it? And then you tell them, and they go and they look. Like, hey, I checked out some of your videos. And it's always weird, because me in a video and me in real life might not always be I'm myself. Don't get me wrong, but it's just weird to take somebody out of the context that you know them in and then watch them online playing a video game. It's just kind of strange. So I always think it's interesting. But yes, they know that I'm a gaming overlord, whatever that means. Some do. Especially the gamers, they'll oh yeah, I saw your video on this. What they'll do is people that know me now will go to see some of my videos of games that I played to see if they would be interested in it. Instead of just coming to ask me, they'll just go watch my videos, which I think is kind of funny. Nicholas Ebel1 says, how come you don't do Dota vids? Well, Nicholas, I would do Dota vids if people watched them. I'll put out a Dota vid randomly once in a while, and they're just not received very well, which is unfortunate because I would love to do more Dota stuff, because that's the one game that I play where I don't really record. That's just a game that I play with friends, and I would totally do Dota videos if more people watch them. Because, yeah, a lot of people say just make videos you want to make kind of thing, but for my current state of my channel and how many videos I already have going up, it only makes sense to do videos if people are watching them. So that's the only reason I don't do them. Otherwise, I would do more. Jennifer Wozniak on Twitter, so at Jen Wozniak, says, probably too late, but have you ever thought of holding a real-life meet and greet with your fans? Yes. So I've actually kind of done this. Not really. I guess they started off as fans or viewers, let's say. But some people from Toronto that I'd end up playing Dota with, and then we'd played a lot of Dota, and I had to go there for work. We ended up meeting, and just having some drinks, and we ended up going to like a baseball game. We had a great time, and these are people I still talk to very consistently now. And yeah, I would do something like that, but I'm not at the point where I can travel to any random city and have like a meet and greet, like channel size, people that would actually show up, and then just me traveling. Like I don't have the time, and I don't think I have the number of people in random areas of the world that would actually show up where it wouldn't be like me and one other person being creepy at a coffee shop. So I don't know. It's something I'm not against at all. But no, it hasn't really happened aside from those people that I met in Toronto. So at TobDD462, he says, would you consider playing, or he asks, would you consider playing Planescape Torment? Also, Catherine. I'm not going to play Planescape Torment. I've tried it. It looks interesting. It really does, and especially because of Wasteland 2, like that's what really got me into looking at all these games. But I think I'm just going to wait for the release of an In Exile's version of Torment. In Exile is the guys who made Wasteland 2, and I really trust these guys now to make anything they want and make it really well. So they're releasing a game called Torment that started on Kickstarter, and I believe it's like kind of a, I don't know if it's an extension of Planescape Torment or kind of like a do-over or what have you, but I think I'm going to play that one when it comes out. At LTG, ELLETG, Steven Anderson says, he asks, how often do you play games you don't record? Not very often. Games that I play that I don't record are really, honestly, really only Dota 2. I would like to find time to play more games, but because I have a job, family, wife, dog, all that stuff, yeah, it's really tough to find the time. Sander Vandenbemt, at Sander_VBO1, he says, will you be playing Pillars of Eternity? Didn't know what that was. Googled it. It's a PC RPG made by Obsidian. It got delayed to 2015, but it looks kind of interesting. Again, like Wasteland 2 opened my eyes to like these old school RPG games, and yeah, I would consider taking a look at it. I have to do a little bit more digging, but it's coming from the guys who made Fallout New Vegas and South Park: The Stick of Truth. So I'm interested, especially because of how well New Vegas was received and how well South Park was received, even though it's like based off, South Park. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I might check that out actually. At take_3_Tylenol. What are your most anticipated games of the year? What's your game of the year for 2014? I mean, my most anticipated game of the year is The Witcher 3, obviously. Aside from that, like I'm interested in the new Metal Gear that is going to get released. I think it's called Phantom Pain or something. I would like to replay all of the Metal Gear games if people would be into that. Like I would crush the shit out of that series. I think it would be super fun to do, especially because it's very cinematic and it's really about like the story. I think it would be super fun, but a lot of work, but we'll see. Might get to that at some point. Game of the year, I don't know, man. I don't really like to do game of the year stuff. I should. I should like doing that. But why don't I? I would say it's a toss up between honestly Wasteland 2 and let me just look through here. Valiant Hearts: The Great War was freaking fantastic. Dark Souls 2 was amazing. What else? Yeah, I would say those my top. Tough to say, but here's a really interesting question. I think this is from at J. Do Martinez. He says, do you sometimes feel tired of playing professional? How do you keep yourself inspired and passionate about gaming? It's a really good question. And it's really tough to answer. It's really tough because your motivation certainly comes in waves. Like there were times when I was playing Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 3, where like I would record for like 7 or 8 hours straight because I was just so engaged, right? And recently, the most recent time that I can think of that happening was, I think, last weekend, where I was playing Dragon Age Inquisition, and I was playing a main story mission. It was just so good, and I just couldn't stop playing. And I loved that feeling. It doesn't happen all the time, and sometimes, you know, if you don't have a video ready for the next day, and you're like, oh, I got to sit down for half an hour. That does happen sometimes, and I think it's just like anything else, right? Like if you treat it like a job, and you I shouldn't say treat it like a job because that has a negative connotation, but I'll describe it this way. On YouTube, I'm playing video games, and it's like, that's pretty cool that people come and they watch and they're into it. They're into something that I'm just doing that's fun, right? And I think that I almost feel like if I don't release a video on a scheduled day that I'm supposed to, I feel like I'm letting people down, and I don't like that feeling, and I know that's... It could be perceived as negative, but that's kind of what keeps me going, right? Is like, I know people are expecting it and are looking forward to it. And so, yeah, that's kind of motivating at the same time. And that certainly does happen. So that's pretty motivational. The other thing is, if the game is good enough to keep me coming back, I love that. I love that. Dragon Age, it has its parts where I'm like, yes, this is awesome. I can't wait to go see what's happening next. Wasteland 2 currently, boom, yeah, really want to be in there. Last time I recorded, I think I recorded for like 6 hours, and it was just amazing. But I think a lot of it is the motivation is based on the game, and there's been series that I've ended in the past because I'm just not into it. And like Lords of the Fallen, I canceled it, went back to it, said, oh, I'll give it another shot, and I started to enjoy it again, but then it just started to fall flat again, right? So, yeah, I think a lot of it's based on the games, but I think going back to what I was talking about earlier, where I decided like I'm going to join a gym and just get a little bit more, like focus on me a little bit more. I think that will actually all play into the motivation aspect. So I hope that answers your question. At Monica the Wise says, I'd love to learn more about you. I've known you, quote unquote, for some time now. It's about damn time. Hi. Don't know what that means. Oh, and sweet Dexter. So, Dexter is the name of my dog, which is named after the after the TV series and our love of that TV series. And he's a 4-year-old. He's almost 4. He's 4 in March. He's a 4-year-old English bulldog. And the story of Dexter is actually kind of interesting because my wife, who was not my wife at the time that we got him, actually got him for me as a gift. And it was one of those gifts where it's like, it was like, I really want him. I really want a dog. And she was like, yeah, okay, well, I'll get you a dog, I guess. But she hates dogs. She hated dogs. Was scared of them. Like, I shouldn't say hate. She was scared of them. She'd never been around one much when she was younger. And so I convinced her to like let me get this dog, and she was like, okay, I'm going to do that. And it was not good for like the first couple of weeks. She was like, you know, I feel like I'm living in hell. Like she was like really not happy about it. And she was like, she wasn't scared of him at the time because he was a puppy, but she was just like, you know, he takes a lot of attention, and I have to like, you know, you have to take him outside and feed him. It's just a lot of work. And she was like, not into it. I said, okay, give it another week. If you're not feeling it, we'll figure it out and we'll find a new home or what have you, right? Thank God she turned that around. And it's funny, like now 4 years later, like I'm pretty sure she likes the dog more than me. Pretty confident that that's true. But like she couldn't live without having Dexter around now. And he's just such a big part of our family, like huge part of our family. Like a lot of our life revolves around him, and he's had a few medical problems in his lifetime that started actually when he was like a puppy, and we've pretty much now got everything under control. But we went through some issues where he couldn't keep food down. He would throw up all the time, like literally all the time. We went through these weird situations where he would lose like giant patches of fur, and we were trying to like nail down these allergies, and we finally found a food that's working for him. Of course, it's like the most expensive possible dog food you could find. We tried the raw diet too, and we started with chicken. That didn't work, so we eliminated any chicken. We tried like other like beefs and venisons and all that kind of stuff. Nothing really worked. And we finally found a fish and sweet potato formula food that works great. And we have him on these. He has to take an allergy pill basically every 2 days, and it's totally made him like 100% better. And he's not itchy. He's got a full like really great coat, and he's just doing really well. So we're super happy about that. But he's like a really big part of my life. He's like my best bud, you know. Whenever I come home, he's always happy to see me, as long as I feed him soon. And then yeah. If you check my Instagram, which is I think it's just ChristopherOdd. I think most of my pictures, like 90% of them, are just of my dog. So yeah, pretty boring stuff, but it is what it is. At the Heroes Bar, cool name. Thoughts about this war of mine and maybe a let's play? Yes, I do want to play that. The thing is, I don't really understand what the purpose is. I fired it up for about 20 minutes, and I was kind of just like building stuff in the house and getting things out of the fridge, and I don't know much about, like, you have to like survive through the nights and stuff, but I know that every playthrough is kind of different. If somebody could describe like what, like, I don't want to go and watch somebody else play it because I want to approach it totally fresh. I guess I could go watch some reviews of it. That's probably what I should do. But yes, the War of Mine looks very interesting. I wish I would have played it right when it came out, but I didn't have the time. And yeah, so we'll see how it goes, but I do want to do that at some point. And the last question at Daxter, DAXTER_Morgan, very interesting. He just lists a bunch of games. He goes, The Last of Us Left Behind DLC, Child of Light, and Never Alone, all short games that don't require too much time. The Last of Us Left Behind DLC, yes, 100%. We'll get to it, not sure when. Child of Light, maybe. I was interested in it at one point, but I think my interest in that game has kind of waned a little bit. And then somebody said, and then he also said Never Alone, which is a game that I'll have to look into. So perhaps. I don't like when I tell people things for certain and it doesn't work out actually being that way because I feel bad. Even when I cancel a series, like, I hate that feeling. I feel super bad whenever that happens. But yeah, so that's all of the questions I believe that I have. There was another one about, let's see, I gotta try and find it here. Oh, The Longest Journey. Let me check this out. I think I looked into this at one point. Oh, yeah, okay, I kind of remember seeing this now. I think I might even have it. That's sad, right? Too many games, too little time. Let's see. Yeah, okay, I have The Longest Journey. Yep. Not a lot of people on my friends list have played it, which is usually a pretty good indicator if people are going to be interested in it. But it's something I would certainly entertain, especially if it's not a huge commitment. I would love to find a lot of really smart indie games with cool stories that aren't a huge commitment. But I'm just looking at the overall ratings, and it looks like pretty strong. Let's see. It's an amazing graphical adventure where the player controls the protagonist April Ryan on her journey between parallel universes. Embark on an exciting and original journey of discovery where you will explore, solve puzzles, meet new people, face terrifying monsters, something, something. Released in 2000. Kind of interesting. I'll have to look into this a little bit more, for sure. But yeah. Anyways, guys, I'm going to say that this went on a lot longer than I anticipated. If you guys are still here at the end, you rock. And if you're not, totally understand, because it's a long time to be talking and listening. Long time. I do want to say, guys, thank you very much for all of the support that you guys have been showing me. And I really do appreciate it. It's really fun for me. If you guys have more questions, leave them in comments on this video or hit me up on Twitter. There's still a couple things that I'm working on, like the subreddit. And I think that's really the only thing that I haven't addressed since last time. But I'm not in a huge rush to get the subreddit going. I do think it would be cool, but I'm not sure when that's going to happen. So thanks, guys. We'll see you very soon. And if you have any additional questions, let me know in the comments below, and I will talk about it, and we'll go from there. All right, guys. Take care.
Goodbye. My brother is such a homo. I think he has a medical problem. Like, more medical problems than the ones he's already been diagnosed with.
Thank you, Coach.
You're a real pro, Mrs. DeSanta. A real pro. Well, you're a great student. Now just loosen up those hips.
Okay, like this?
Yeah, loosen them up. There you go. And follow through. Perfect.
Oh, okay. I think I'm getting it.
Hey, Simeon, I got the ride, man. I'm coming back.
If you actually bring the repossession to me this time, I can have it back out on the street before the day is done.
That's a 9mm semi-automatic pushed against your skull. Well, look around. You just keep driving where you're going.
Hey, come on, man. This was a repo job. Guy was behind on his fucking note.
Unlikely, considering my son just got the car. And looking at the way you're going about this, my guess, you're working a credit fraud.
A credit fraud? Be serious, dude. I just worked the fucking repos.
I appreciate a kid who follows orders without taking responsibility. Yeah, maybe one day we'll have a beer, and I'll explain how the world really works. Who gives you the slip?
A car dealer, dawg, by the name of Simeon Yateri.
So this businessman, he look legit to you?
Look, man, it's just between him and your fucking son.
Don't worry. Me and Mr. Yatarian, we'll work this out. That the place?
Yeah, this the place, man.
Whoa. Drive into it. Right through the fucking window. And fast. Or I'll put 2 rounds in the back of your skull and do it myself.
Man, you can't be for real.
I look like a fucking joke to you?
Man, fuck my life, man. Fuck it.
Come on, kid.
Shit! Franklin! What the fuck are you doing? Mr. Simeon, it's not exactly how it looks.
I always trump big for a job well done. Now get out of here, kid.
You motherfucker! See now, you've pissed me off. Crazy man! What is wrong with you?
You recognize this car? Huh? Does it look like it's worth $5 grand a month to you?
You fucking racist!
I'll tell you something. This thing's gonna need some serious body work before it's worth $5 grand a month.
He agreed to financing. I have his signature.
Yeah, did he agree to have some punk break into my fucking house?
I don't know.
That kid might be a fucking idiot, but you are a fraudulent scumbag piece of shit. Ugh. Don't make me have to come back here.